Hi everyone, this is Luxthos, and today I'm bringing you another video guide for Diablo 4. This time we're going to be looking at a full Summoner Endgame build for Season 2. So this is going to be fun, and yes, I know we're using Ring of Mendeln. I know, it's tough to get, and you know, all the builds require it and all that stuff. But I think we're going to be able to target farm this ring, and it's going to be a lot easier to get. And the build in general is just going to be so heavily focused into Minion that they should absolutely slap and demolish everything. There was buff to Minion. There was massive buff to Golem as well. He should be an absolute powerhouse if we build him correctly. And this should be a really, really fun guide. So this is the build that I'm going to be using personally. I'm going to transition from my Minion Bone Spear leveling build, which I made another video about if you want to check that out on how to start your season and progress. And then as soon as I get my ring and I get my Paragon Board and I can slowly swap to Minion, we're going to go full Minion. And I'm expecting this to absolutely be a powerhouse. You're not necessarily going to be the fastest at clearing because we're going to be losing Barber, so a lot of AoE damage is going to be missing. But I think we're going to do really, really well here, especially on the side of being extremely tanky. So this could be really, really fun. So when I was talking about Ring of Mendeln here, before we get into the build, we're going to cover the legendaries, the unique, the Vampiric Power, the entire Paragon Board, your skill tree, your gem, your stats. Everything is going to be included in this video. But before we get to the Ring of Mendeln here, I just wanted to show you a quick thing. So last season and in preseason, it was pretty tough to get, right? Everybody wanted to go Minion, but nobody was able to get the ring. Well, the really, really cool thing here is now we're going to get somebody called the Beast in Ice. And the Beast in Ice is going to have a higher chance of dropping you the Ring of Mendeln. So if you're a Necromancer and you're doing the Beast in Ice, you're going to have a higher chance of getting that ring. So that's going to be really, really good. And the cool thing about the Beast in Ice is it actually comes from doing Nightmare Dungeon. So if you're doing Nightmare Dungeon from 21 to 100 in tier, you're going to get fragment that are going to allow you to craft a special sigil that will allow you to go kill the Beast in Ice. So throughout your normal leveling process and your entire normal gameplay, playing your Bone Spear Summoner build or whatever build you desire to level with, you're going to be spamming Nightmare Dungeon the entire time. And you're going to be dropping those fragments, right? So I'm assuming that it's going to be something that only works within World Tier 4 because it is bracketed in World Tier 4 here. So as soon as you reach that threshold and you start doing those Nightmare Dungeon, which you're going to be doing a lot, you'll be getting those fragments. You'll be able to spawn the map, kill the beast, and have a chance at the Ring of Mendeln. Is it a guaranteed drop? Probably not, but the chances are already going to be higher than in the previous season, and this should allow you to transition into this build a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and look at the build first, and then we're going to look at the gear and everything else, right? So very straightforward Minion build here. We're going full Minion. There's no ability doing damage for us. We're just a bystander watching on the side of the road while our army is going to attempt to devastate everything, hopefully. So we're going to go, just the first point here don't really matter. We're going to put like points in Reap. Feel free to put points anywhere. You're not going to use the ability. We're going to follow it up by Hewed Flesh because although we don't have Corpse Explosion, there's going to be a lot of corpse consumption happening. So we're going to get this because we want as much corpse as possible, even without Corpse Explosion. We're going to go with some Skeletal Warrior Mastery. Obviously, we're going to go with 1 point in Grim Harvest. We don't really care about the Essence regen, although it's still going to help because we're going to need to manually press Decrepify. We're going to miss the aura on this one. Fueled by Death, just free damage, so it's pretty nice. Blood Mist here and leaving corpses. So that's going to be very, very nice, allowing us to be invulnerable and have Unstoppable, which is nice. Skeletal Mage Mastery, obviously. Decrepify with the cooldown reduction here. The second point is it's just there's not much else that will increase your damage here, so you can feel free to put a point here. Feel free to put it wherever. It doesn't really matter in this build. You'll see in a second. We're picking Amplify Damage, free damage for pretty much everything that you curse. Death's Embrace is going to be nice. You're going to be in melee. You're always going to be in melee with your Golem, with your army, because we're going to try to get as much damage from the Health Band Commander here. So you're going to be in melee with Bone Storm on you, Bone Storm on the Golem. You're going to be 10 drilling everything in melee, and you're just going to be like a ball of death, okay? So because of that, Death's Reach doesn't really give much. Sure, it could apply maybe to the to the Skeletal Mage, so feel free to maybe do this if you want. Doesn't really matter that much. You can get a bit more slow, a little bit more damage reduction. You know, it's not a bad deal. But the damage reduce here and the damage increase from being close is really, really nice. Corpse Tendril, we're going to put 5 point. It's just going to reduce its cooldown. It's going to be really, really good. Also, you could put the point in Blood Mist if you want lower cooldown. That works as well, but you're going to get a lot of cooldown reduction from having Decrepify. You should be able to have this every time you need it, which shouldn't be that much because you're going to be really tanky with Bone Storm. So Corpse Tendril all the way to Vulnerable. That's going to be very, very nice. If you end up, I'm going to explain it a little bit later, but there is a way to apply Vulnerable with the new Curse mechanic with the Vampiric Power. If you see at some point that everything on the map is constantly in vulnerable state without you even pressing Corpse Tendril, then feel free to swap this point to generating Blood Orb. Because the Blood Orb, by default, are going to be healing your minion as well, which is really nice because we're going to be playing with the Bone Minion, which will sacrifice their HP over time. So that could be interesting, depending on how much Curse are going out and how much vulnerability that applies out. This could be an interesting swap later on. I'm going to leave it for this for now, and after a little bit of playtesting, if I feel like the Blood Orbs are more beneficial, I'm going to swap it in the build, right? We're going to go for maximum amount of point in Golem Mastery. We're going to go with full points here for the minion, making them as strong as possible. And obviously, Death's Defense was changed, so now the maximum hit on minion by default is 30%. They cannot lose more than 30% of their life per instance of damage. And they get pretty much more armor and resistance now, which is amazing. We're going to go with Bone Storm because that's going to give us massive amount of barrier, and also that's going to trigger the Ring of Mendel. That's going to give us crit and damage reduction. It's just the best ultimate we got, right? And then we're going to go with Kalen's Edict. We're going to be so tanky that we should be able to keep up the attack speed here. So that's going to be really, really good on the healthy here. This one here, and plus this, so that's going to be really, really, really nice. We're going to go into our gear right now. So this is going to be pretty straightforward. We're just going to go over what's needed. So Disobedience, we're going to be an intelligence class, so we're going to get a lot of resistance. But on this one here, on the aspect, we're going to want the extra armor. That's going to be very, very, very nice. The aspect of Shielding Storm also is going to be the reason number one that we're going to be so tanky, is because we're pretty much going to be running around with permanent Bone Storm, right? Bone Storm is going to extend itself by consuming corpses, and then we're going to get massive amount of cooldown reduction with Decrepify, which is going to make it so that Bone Storm is pretty much always going to be available, and we're just going to be total beast, unkillable. It's going to be super fun. Maximum amount of Skeletal Warrior increased by 2. Just no-brainer on this one here. You can feel free to modify some stuff like around. If you don't have all your legendary yet, you can feel free to like equip some other legendaries in other location. Your minion are going to gain damage reduction here on your pants. So that's going to be really, really good. Make sure you get this one. That's going to allow just your minion to pretty much not die, right? Because we're going for a full minion build, and there's a lot of things that can pretty much decimate minion. But with all of our Paragon Board and all of these legendary, your minion should pretty much not die. Also, barriers apply to minion, which means that your Bone Storm is just going to... nothing should die. Everything should stay alive. It should be crazy. Increasing the number of skeletal mages with vicious aspect. That's going to be very important. On the weapon, on a one-ender, we're going to be using here the aspect of reanimation. You're most likely going to be putting this on a wand for the lucky hit, so that's going to be very, very nice. And then you're going to get the golem and skeleton gain increased damage the longer they're alive, up to 10 seconds, right? Up to 40%. So that's going to be absolutely necessary. On your necklace here, you're going to go for the attack speed. So we're really counting on that golem doing as much attack as he can, and on your skeleton, your mages to just attack as fast as they can. So you're going to have a lot of attack speed stacking up, and they're just going to be decimating everything. Ring of Mendel, obviously, that's a no-brainer. I mean, it gives you, even without the proc, it gives you lucky hit chance, minion attack speed, and maximum minion life. It's a really, really good ring, and then the proc is going to be really, really strong. Critical strike. We're not going to put as much emphasis into like critical strike and vulnerable damage. We're not going to be running like the exploit glyph. Also, like the overall brackets of damage has been modified. Vulnerable and and Critical Strike don't synergize. They don't ramp up as much damage as they used to. So the Ring of Mendel is not going to do those massive hit, but it's still going to bring you so much free damage and AoE damage that we pretty much can't pass on this one. It's just absolutely amazing. Also, it gives thorns, which then automatically triggers the lucky hit from the minion being attacked with thorns, which is amazing. So this ring is just beautiful. It's just absolutely amazing. You want it. But it's not going to be necessarily like the #1 source of damage. Your minion should pack a punch, which is going to be the main difference. A lot of the time you would do build where everything was about proccing Ring of Mendel, and if you didn't proc it, nothing was dying. But here, your minion should absolutely slap outside of getting a proc. And if they proc, it's just going to give them that much more damage and a little bit of AoE as well, which is going to be great. For your second ring here, we're going to go with the aspect of the Grasping Vein, because why not? You're going to get free Critical Strike and free Critical Strike bonus damage, so that's going to be really good. And on the off end here, we're going to go for the Oseus Gale aspect, which is going to give you Bone Storm, Consumption of Corpse, which is going to extend its duration. So with this, if you have a good, a perfect one, a 10-second one, you should pretty much be Bone Storming permanently, which means that you get barrier all the time. Your minion get barrier. Your Bone Storm is on you and on the golem, triggering lucky hit for your Ring of Mendel. It's just going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. For the Book of the Dead, you're going to go with the Reaper because you need those extra corpses to be consumed by Bone Storm, but also because you're going to need to heal and summon your mages. Because we're going to go for the Bone Mages here, you're going to end up losing some every once in a while. But that's okay because you don't really have much to do outside of cursing enemies every once in a while, making sure you reapply this every once in a while. I mean, you're going to be spamming stuff, okay? But you're not going to have to attack anything. But you're going to be spamming your entire keyboard, the entire playthrough. You're going to be healing and buffing the damage of your minions. You're going to be spamming your Golem ability. You're going to be spamming Tendril on cooldown, Bone Storm on cooldown, cursing everything. It's going to be very active gameplay, even though you have minion, which should be really fun. So we're going to go for this one. We still need to do a little bit of test with this current build, see how long they survive and if everything is good, because they did increase the heal for this, but the cooldown is longer. So there's still a little bit of test to be done here, but this should still be very viable and allow your mage to absolutely tear through pretty much anything in single target. It's going to be really good. For the Golem, we're going to go with the Iron Golem, and we're hoping that the attack speed and everything and all the new damage buff is just going to make your Iron Golem absolutely smash as well, so that's going to be very nice. I don't think you're going to need the Vulnerable with a mix of Corpse Tendril already applying it, and I think the Vampiric Power applying it as well. We're going to go over that in a second here. You shouldn't need this one. The other possibility, if you feel squishy, you could go Blood Golem as well. You could go the Bone Golem as well. He's going to taunt everything and try to pack everything up together. That can be really good, but you're already playing with Corpse Tendril, so feel free to play with this. The Golem choice is not, like, he's just going to smack no matter what, but the Shockwave should be fun. We're going to go over the Vampiric Power here. Again, this is all speculation, but this is what looks to be the best, and the way that this works is you're going to be dropping these little tokens, the little red thing, the little cup, gold, I don't know what this is, and a skull, right? I don't know what these are, but you're going to be dropping those tokens. You're going to click on them, put them on your gear, and this is going to give you currency to then use to apply Vampiric Power. Each Vampiric Power has a different cost, right? So in order to activate this one, you need 2 of these on your gear. You need 2 of the golden cup token on your gear. This one requires 3 of the red thingy, right? And this one requires 1 of the skull plus 1 of the... So you get the idea. So the goal during your leveling, it might not be necessarily easy to apply everything, but this is the ultimate goal that I'm looking for here. Coven's Fang is going to allow your minion to do 52% increased damage to crowd control enemy, which should pretty much be everything at all time. With Corpse Tendril and everything should be always stunned and pretty much getting bounced around, and you just get free damage. But the cool thing is that they also make your minion able to apply Vampiric Curse. And the cool thing is we're using another thing here that makes it so that Vampiric Curse enemies are vulnerable. So that's very nice. So that pretty much means we should have permanent vulnerable on everything, which is why I was mentioning that maybe you're going to swap the Tendril to Blood Orb to just make your Skeletal Mage pretty much heal himself a lot more. So that could be very nice. So very nice synergy here. Vampiric Curse being applied, and also the increased damage to crowd control. And the way that Vampiric Curse work, from what I understand from what we saw in the trailer, is you're pretty much absorbing the soul of your enemies, and you're stacking up souls. And when it's ready to release, it's going to release into an ability called a Cursed Soul. And you're pretty much going to spam a bunch of corpses that are going to be running around and trying to go for target. If you've ever worn the Howl from Below glove that makes your corpse explosion raise a corpse that runs before exploding, it's pretty much going to be this, but with the soul of your enemy. So the more you apply the curse, the more soul you absorb. The more soul you absorb, the more damage you deal with these souls just running out and murdering everybody. And this this Vampiric Power here not only makes your lucky hit apply more curse, it also has a chance to spread it and release a Cursed Soul to deal increased damage by 200%. So the entire build is pretty much applying as much curse as possible with your minion and yourself, and then just having that run everywhere and murder everybody. That's my understanding, though. We still need to test this, but it could be fun. Could be really, really cool. Sanguine Embrace is just going to give you free 8% critical strike, which is nice, and even more fortify in case you needed it. Because every time you kill an enemy, you get even more fortify, and if you're over more than half of your max life, you get 8% crit for free, which is nice. That applies to your minion as well. And then the last one here, Ravenous, which is free attack speed and movement speed when you get a lucky hit. But we're already going for a full lucky hit build, so we should be proccing this all the time. If there's no internal cooldown, we should have 20% attack speed and 40% movement speed. Actually, no, sorry. 20% chance to increase your attack speed by 40% of your total movement speed. So if we should just get nice attack speed all the time, which is just going to help our minion attack more, which is going to be really, really nice. So hopefully that works out well, and we're going to do some adjustment if needed on these. For the gear, sorry, this is a long rambling video. I'm just excited. Every time I do a Necromancer minion build, I just can't contain myself. For the helm slot here, you're going to be looking for lucky hit while you have a barrier. That's going to be 100% of the time. Absolutely necessary. Total armor, maximum life, and cooldown reduction. This is just pretty much every lucky hit build is pretty much going to be looking for this. This is just like really, really good stats. For the chest, you're going to be looking for total armor, damage reduction from close, maximum minion life. Maximum minion life can be also swapped to maximum life. That works. Damage reduction from close can be any other damage reduction. That kind of works. This is the optimal one. This is really, really nice. Damage reduction from close also should apply to your minion, while damage reduction from fortified doesn't necessarily apply because I think your minion aren't considered to be fortified. I'm not 100% sure on this, but that's one of the biggest reason. From what I've been able to see in tests, your minions aren't ever considered fortified. So this damage reduction should be able to apply also to your minion, which is really, really nice. On your glove, you're going to go for lucky hit, critical strike chance, attack speed, and all stats. All stats, feel free to change this to Dex or Int, depending on what your board needs to activate certain things, but all stats is just generic and very nice. It gives you res, it gives you armor, it gives you damage. On your pants, again, total armor, damage reduction from close, maximum life. On your boots, you're going to be looking for movement speed, rank to corpse tendril, dodge chance, which apply to your minion, which is really nice. It prevents them from getting CC'd if they dodge the CC, so that's really nice. And then you want to get all stats or a specific stats if you need it. On the amulet, you're going to go for movement speed, cooldown reduction, ranks of Hellbent Commander. That's going to give you massive damage scaling while you're close to your minion, which is all the time, and some minion attack speed. But feel free to go if you find like total armor or some good defensive stats here. It could be good as well. That could be very nice. Your first ring is the Ring of Mendel, so you don't have to choose the stats. Your second ring, you're going to go for some vulnerable damage, some critical strike chance, critical strike damage, and some lucky hit. That's going to be really, really good. For your weapon, you're going to go with critical strike damage, vulnerable damage, and intelligence. And the third stat doesn't really matter that much. Damage to close, damage to stun, all that kind of stuff is going to work really, really well here on your weapon. And on your offhand, you're going to go for the weapon. You're going to go with a wand. And on the offhand here, you're not going to use a shield. You're going to use a DPS offhand. And you're going to try to find some lucky hits, some cooldown reduction, some minion attack speed, and some critical strike. So that's pretty much it for your gear. This entire build here, this link is going to be in the description down below if you have any question. We covered pretty much everything. For your gem, you're going to go for the emerald, you're going to go for the ruby, and you're going to go for the skull for the armor here. Again, we're an intelligence class. We should have a lot of resistance. We're going to be lacking armor. And for the ruby, I prefer it over the sapphire because sapphire doesn't apply to minion as much. And Topaz can be really, really good as well. But because we have Blood Mist and we're going to clear CC, but this one applies to Minion as well. So feel free to use whichever one you prefer. I like having extra HP, so that's really, really nice. We covered the Vampiric Power, the skill tree. We're now going to go over the Paragon Board here. So this is where everything will start scaling massively. We're going to start with our starter board with Control, which is going to give us extra damage to crowd control, which is going to help us with clear speed. Because bosses should pretty much melt. Because your minions are not really going to have anything else to target than a boss, which makes it so that everybody should be doing crazy amount of damage to your main target. The usual problem with minion build is when you have a lot of density, if you don't get those Mendeln ring to explode and proc. So having that extra damage to crowd control is going to be very, very nice. We're going to move on to the Cult Leader board, and we're going to go pick every damage increase, every minion node that we can to make our army as strong as possible. I'm skipping one skeletal all-res here. There's probably some things that could be swapped around. If I make some optimization, I'm going to update the build, obviously, and we go for Dead Razor, which is going to increase by 100% all the other minion node here for damage and armor and damage reduction. We're going to move over to Hulking Monstrosity to pump our Golem, because our Golem is going to be smacking with the new damage buff. So not only did every node get buffed, the damage got buffed on its own, and then we're going to put the Golem glyph in here. So he should be smacking quite a bit. So all the damage node here, a little bit of max life that I'm missing here. Honestly, I don't think your Golem is ever going to be dying like ever. So the life node is probably like not necessarily the most needed here. We're using it to grab some other extra node here that we could need. And we're going to go for everything. So the Hulking Monstrosity, we're going to go for all the nodes to increase the Golem armor, your armor while it's active, your damage while it's active, and all the damage attack speed that we're going to go get. And we're going to put the Golem node here. All the willpower nodes are selected. Your Golem is going to be doing the 120% increased damage from this. It should be kind of crazy here. We're going to move over here on these two nodes. So Scent of Death here that we're going to go grab. Easy damage reduction, easy damage increase. And then we're going to go with the rare glyph, the Mage glyph here for extra damage to your Skeletal Mage and bonus resistance to all your minion, which is amazing. So that's going to be good. And then over here, we're just going to go with Flesh Eater just to go grab a quick and easy glyph node here for the Warrior, which is going to give all of your minion increased armor, and it's going to buff your Skeletal Warrior damage. We're not able to go grab these two dexterity node. If I find a way to actually optimize this and go grab these, there's also like some nodes that could be nice. The resistances could be nice now, maybe. There's still maybe a little bit of optimization, but for now, I'm pretty happy with the final result for this, so we're going to go with this. So we're going to follow this. If I make any optimization, I'm going to update it, and you guys will have the latest version. So that's pretty much it for this build. That's the build that I'm personally going to go with for my first endgame build on my Necromancer in Season 2. I'm going to transition from my Minion Bone Spear to this, and then I'll see how everything goes. I'm excited to do a full Minion build, finally with Minion just like decimating and having their own damage source and actually doing some decent amount of damage outside of the ring, and especially the Golem. So that's going to be really, really fun. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Let me know if you want more of these. Just throw a thumbs up on the video if you enjoyed it. Post in the comment section if you enjoy this type of content and if you want more. Or if you just have anything you want to say to me, like if I forgot to pronounce any S in this video. I know you guys love to point those out. English is not my first language. I would just like to say this at the end of the video because I know I forgot some S's, okay? And I probably mispronounced 28 words. It's fine. Thank you all for watching. Thank you so much for watching my content. Again, subscribe, like, comment, and make sure you come visit me on Twitch. I stream every single day, and I'm going to be blasting a ton of Season 2 on the Necromancer, so if you want more content for that, make sure to hop over and say hi, and it will make me really, really happy. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in Sanctuary, my friend. Bye-bye.